And we're live. Welcome back to the third day of the Business and Art Infusion Virtual Summit. Today, we're going to start with a bang, which we are starting with the art of gaining trust and online gathering with Shevah Pinkus. She's coming. She has about 30 years experience in creating and leading and facilitating productive and collaborative communities in education, nonprofit, religious, and professional settings. So she's going to tell you how um, you can get an online gathering and gain trust and build a community doing so. So with that, let's welcome Shiva.
Hello, Yorka. How are you? Oh, you're so sweet. So let's just chat a minute before you bring the slide up.
Yeah, let's, okay.
Actually, yeah. Um, yeah, so welcome. Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you for coming.
So I am going to go ahead and put the link to my free gift in the chat, unless you have it. Do you have it? You can put it in the.
You can write it down in the chat.
Oh, okay. Let me get that for you. Um, give me just a moment to change a different screen.
And we have one coming already. Say good morning, Amesa.
Yay, good morning. We are going to be talking about trust and all the wonderful things. Actually, I'm just going to trust that someone's going to put it in the Facebook chat. And Tomasa, thank you so much. Can we copy Tomasa's link and put it in the banner for us?
No, I
Oh,
cannot.
it's all good. Thank you, Tomasa. Anyway, that's a free gift. If you want to download it, um, I just want to let you know in advance. For some reason, it ends up in people's spam box. So it's going to be emailed to you, and just check your spam box when you open it. You'll be able to see um, the link at the bottom really big, just like click here in blue letters. And when you click it, it'll open to a Google Drive and it'll have the main points from this presentation in it. All right, so now we can begin. Thank you, Tomasa, for putting that comment in. And yeah, can we bring up the slideshow?
Yes, we can.
Oh, thank you. So what I am talking about is the art of trust in online gatherings. And I'm going to be doing 3 points. And the first one is, what is trust? And the trust continuum model. And as I'm going to just talk a little bit about my personal experience and why trust is a topic that matters to me. But then I'm going to go into a little bit more of it as I show you the model. Then I'm going to talk about why trust matters in online gatherings. And then I'm going to show you a few techniques to generating more trust in your online group gatherings. So, and of course we're gonna have the Q&A. So welcome. And I want to begin with a story about, okay, here I am. I am lying on a couch. It's really late at night and I am in the home of a person I had just met a few months prior. And I am overcome with pain. I'm in shock. And I realized that at this point in my life, I had never felt more lost and broken. I had literally 3 days prior been put into doctors were trying to take out all the shattered bone from my arm and my wrist and my hand from years and years of disintegration from the ravages of rheumatoid arthritis that I had been struggling with since I was a young child. And at that point, the destruction just got really severe. And here I am. I unfortunately was in a position where several years prior to that, I had lost my marriage, my home, my money, my health, and the career that I spent years and years trying to pull together. And what what really was the accumulation of this moment was that I realized that it was all about trust. And so what I want to bring up is that for me, now, like when there's other people in my life who may feel that wasn't really what, like, that I did have. Okay, let me start over again. The trust that I felt at that moment was really about feeling safe, secure, and belonging. And I had lost all of it. And so I'm going to fast forward 3 months and a few transitions later and realize that the trust I needed was started with me. And Brene Brown talked about trust recently, and she quoted Charles Feldman saying, choosing to make something important to you vulnerable to the actions of someone else is what trust is. And at that moment, the reason why I knew so much about trust was because it was all gone. It was broken. It was severed. It was shattered. And that's what allowed me to really understand trust. I feel like, that we're in a summit, we're talking about business and art. And one of so my the career that I was talking about that I loved so much was being an art teacher. And I love talking about the elements of art. And the element of art that I just loved so much was contrast. And the reason why contrast is such a profound element of art is because it helps you truly understand the difference between what is and what is not. So, I would tell my students all the time, okay, guys, create really a dark, dark against a light, light. And when you put that contrast right up against one another, that's your focal point. That's what you see. And so at that point, trust became so apparent to me because I was able to understand what trust is. That's the beauty of contrast. If we don't have the shadow, we cannot see just how delicious and beautiful the good is. So New York, I want to ask you, what does trust mean to you? Like, how would you define trust?
How I define trust?
Yeah, what does trust mean?
For me, it means being able to rely on the other person or persons that I'm bringing in. That there's a balance on equality. If you break that and there's something hiding behind the intentions, and they come up at the last minute, that's a really hard pill to swallow. Sometimes it's better to be honest from the beginning and lay everything out on the table, and I think you gain more like that. Then it's harder once you break the trust.
And so trust is something that you gave more attention to beforehand, and then afterwards it was apparent because it was no longer there. You were
Mhm.
vulnerable to the expectation that you had, right?
Yes.
And so, like, I mean, these are things that happen like when we're even when we're driving in traffic, right? Brene Brown used this example of, we are vulnerable to the fact that we expect people to follow the traffic laws so we don't get in an accidents. So we are trusting. And the thing about it is everyone's going to be coming from a different place, a different experience. And one thing I noticed is that when I had to rebuild my trust, and maybe New Yorker, when you're rebuilding your trust, um, I found that there was a certain thing I had to go through because it was so apparent. And before this, I had actually the experience I was telling you about. I had started a business called Mindful Mandala Events, and it was just about to, take some traction and really get going. And afterwards, after the surgery I had, I just couldn't work on it. I couldn't do it. Um, it just was lost. And the reason why is because I was unable to discover the strength I needed within myself because I didn't even trust my own body to function, to be reliable, to be consistent. And I found that to be one of the very first steps of having trust. So what I was trying to do, if you look at this continuum of trust that I created, I was trying to be over here in community leadership and collaboration and cohesion, but I wasn't even at this place of consistency and in confidence in myself. And so I felt so out of integrity to try to get over here. So I had to let my business go. And what I did was I really put a lot of attention in what it took to fill my trust tank. So when I was at this point where I realized I was broken and lost, I had to think about reliability. What is it? Oh, actually before that, I had to accept the fact that my life no longer looked like it was supposed to be. My life no longer looked like I had a safe place to live. I had people I could rely on. I had a body I could rely on. I had an ability to put myself out in the world and know that I could be trustworthy. So I had to accept this truth. I had to just accept that this is what it is, and there's nothing I can do about it, no matter how much I wish it was different. And then I had to get to the reliability and follow through. What was reliable at that very moment was the moon. I knew that every night I could go out and look at that moon and it would always be there. Maybe a little cloud covered, but it would always be there. The thing is, humans are not reliable. No matter how much we wish they were, systems are not reliable. Governments are not reliable. Worlds are not reliable. Countries, we're also fallible. But the one thing that's reliable is the sun always rises in the morning and the moon always rises at night. And if we, though, and the, so like you may be listening to the story of how like my life was completely destroyed and broken, and I really truly hope you do not relate to life's devastating loss. But one thing I think you can relate to is what it feels like to have been betrayed or broken or have some sort of trauma. And what I would love for you to do is know that could you when you got there, when you got to that place of brokenness, would you be able to relate to what it took to start over again? How did you recover from that? What did you do? So New York, I mean, I think you might have been thinking of a particular experience when you were talking about trust. What did it take for you to, like, after that happened, after you had that experience of loss or trauma or betrayal, you accepted the fact that it happened, and then what did you do? Like, what was your next step? to filling your trust tank?
Well, I can look back and there's many occasions that will happen. Uh, and at that time, you have a choice. You can either choose to move on, you can choose to do the best of it. Um, and at the end of the day, you have to trust your instinct and assess the situation and see if it can be solved. Is it worth it to be solved? Or you just need to move on and find something else. If it doesn't add um, to the experience, to the relationship, to the trust, sometimes it's better to move on. But if it's something that maybe, because we're all humans, we all are imperfect, um, sometimes giving a second chance is what is needed in the situation.
So it's
So
almost like you came back to the sense of hope, right?
yeah.
Vision again. Because what I heard you talk about is you got to this place of acceptance. You thought about what you can do and get back to your own, like, what am I able to do? Where is there reliability and follow through? And then you were looking at your needs, healthy, permeable boundaries. Like I heard you say, well, I may choose to find forgiveness. I may choose to let this go, but there's certain boundaries about what I need. So you had to bring in an awareness, like, here's what I need. Here's the edge of what's okay for me and my life. And that's like a needs assessment, a needs awareness. And then you got to this place of like, okay, as long as I can count on myself, as long as I have this self reliability, and I know that I'm going to get through it, I can get back to now having the ability to have compassion for the other, for the situation, for the environment, create forgiveness. And forgiveness is that word. It's like, before I used to give
Well,
and to get, yeah,
I think it's important to remember that whatever actions, whatever feelings you had, betrayal, or seeing things go perfect, maybe there's undisclosed things. At the end of the day, you cannot let that change you and your values and what you stand for. So I think that's the thing that you need to guard, and that's one of the principles that you need to follow to assess the situation. Continuing
exactly.
on the situation, continuing the relationship, it's going to change me. It's going to make me bitter. It's going to make me uh, go back to go to a scarcity mindset, or keep moving on and keep sharing and keep being better, because we want to be improved. We don't want to be less.
Exactly. And it's like what I heard you say is, in order to get back to that place of abundant and expansiveness, you have to have that ability to, let me see from a different perspective. Let me find another way to look at this, and have that ability to let it go and create hope and vision. When people feel broken or betrayed, or whatever you describe as lost trust, what that actually means is hope has been broken.
Yeah.
So when I found myself in a situation where my hope was broken, I started back with filling my trust tank by looking at, okay, here's the situation. I have to accept it, and I can't keep talking about the past of what was and what could have been, what should have been. I had to look at the very baby steps that I could do. So now I'm looking at this circle over here, this way, of the on the trust continuum. I just start with what's consistent and how do I build my sense of confidence in myself and in others and in the situation. So I had to look at doing something continuously to build that sense of trust. So when I was so broken and I had to rebuild my health, I had to start with, okay, all activities of daily living were just too hard for me to do. So what I had to do was just practice brushing my teeth, um, and celebrate the heck out of that every day. I had home healthcare workers coming in to help me like get dressed and make food, and for several months until I could get myself um, able to function in life again. And I I would make I would try to make breakfast, um, with help. But to have that happen every day was a big win, and I celebrated it. I called friends and I celebrated it because I really wanted to believe that there was something I could be consistent in. Because how can I go back and lead this company and have this business if I couldn't even rely on the fact that I can talk, or I can get dressed each day? And so I had to build that consistency back up in myself. And then I had to look at my boundaries. I had to remember, okay, I don't have enough bandwidth or energy to be able to really function. So I had to pick and choose what's going to allow me to be the most expansive in the future, what's going to allow me to be most expansive and connected and be my best self. So at that time, I had about 2 hours a day where I could function. And I had to spend those 2 hours in setting myself up for healthy, good habits in the future. So I had to really hone it in and rein it in and say no to like a ton of stuff. And here's the thing, like even now, where I am is nothing short of a miracle, because the whole situation I'm telling you about was in 2014. So it took many, many years to get myself to even have my brain function again, to be able to talk, to have reliability that my brain's not going to fog up and I'm going to fall asleep right here and now. Um, but I still have to, no matter how excited I get about things and have that mover and shaker mind of wanting to change the world and make it better, I have a body that constantly betrays me. And so I have to keep in mind, and rein it in and look at the energy that I have, and have those. And this is why I'm talking about it, is because I have to get back to that needs awareness and those healthy permeable boundaries. And I had to realize, like, okay, my boundaries are, I have to function and survive. I have to know that I can be consistent, because if I can't, I'm going to let a whole lot of people down, and um, and burn myself out and my health in the process. So it's been a slow ride of building that back up. And I always have to remember, when I feel scared or frightened or my hope is fragile, I have to go back to that beginning of number one: start building consistency with myself so I can have confidence. Then I can connect with others and practice that interpersonal trust. And what Yorka was talking about was connection and interpersonal trust, but it goes both ways. Like, she might have been having the confidence to connect with others and offer something vulnerable of herself, but the connection, it goes both ways, because if their boundary is up and they have a limit, and they're not able to follow through on the expectation she has, then her confidence is going to be affected. So what New York had to do was go back and look at her own, what is consistent about herself, what can she do to build her self-trust. And now she can go back to that interpersonal trust and have that connection again after she got to that place of boundaries, forgiveness, and hope. Then there's communication. And that's the great part, because communication, like what she was talking about, that being able to know something at the beginning, or um, like one thing I've had to learn is, because I don't have a reliable body, I have to be very clear. Like, if I know I might be having a flare up, I might have to say, let's have a plan B if something should happen, because at any moment my body may give out on me. And I have to know that there is something I can be consistent with, and that I can help other people feel consistent about. So it's been a real uphill battle trying to get that trust embedded in myself so I can embed it in others. And communication. So let's look at businesses, or relationships. Um, Having really good, clear communications, like Kurt was talking about, and really understanding we're all on the same page with expectations. We're all on the same page with the outcomes and what we need. And here's the hard part, most people do not even know what their own needs are. So they're not even able to communicate it. And if we were able to communicate our own needs up front, it can really give us a profound sense of openness and trust in others. Then we can get to that place of community. Because we can communicate, our interpersonal trust then goes towards leadership trust. I can trust another person. I can trust being led or leading others because I am clear about my expectations and they are clear about their expectations. And we can start building community together. And that's really what this whole presentation is about, is how do I bring community, and then get to that collaboration and get to that cohesion. So when I talk about online gatherings, I'm talking about, actually, let me go back. I want to say one more thing to conclude this section about the reason why this topic matters to me about trust is because I've struggled with it so much of my life, because my acceptance and truth is I have an unreliable body, and but I have dreams and visions, and I want to figure out, how do I be consistent, build my confidence so I can create connection and communication. And because I put so much attention, because of that contrast I was talking about, I've been watching, like an observer, this meta way to build trust in myself. But the one thing, even before I got that sick, was I always created community. And the one thing people would say about me is, well, Sheva, how is it that you are building community, or people just gather around you? And I would say it's because I truly care about them and I want to be consistent about my love. And that's the one thing I have control over, is my consistent level of care and love and compassion for others. And that's key. That's key to creating communities that stay together. So you might have a big list of clients, you might have a big following online, but the thing I really want to talk about is the foundation of trust is everything if you want to start creating revenue and retention. If you have this big list, you want to keep those clients. You want them to stay with you. So the community of people that you have access to, that you want to create, that you want to see have longevity and sustainability along with your own health and energy, you're going to need to really be aware of how you use it. So when I talk about online gathering, I'm talking about a gathering that's more than two people. Here's the thing, in like the big perspective of humanity, online gatherings is a fairly new thing, right? It's a new medium, it's a new tool, and it's not like in person. We're really missing a lot of nonverbal and energetic cues that we get in person. We can't read the room on Zoom like we can in a like regular office setting. So what I'm suggesting is that we need to give it more attention, intention, like what we're doing beforehand, how we're doing it during. Are we staying present? Are we giving compassion? Is there something are we making, like, Are we putting attention on trying to give connection for people? And are we allowing ourselves to be creative so that we can be more effective in webinars, digital events, challenges, summits, master classes, lectures, doing services of any kind, group coaching, teaching, trainings, even just family reunions? That's leading an online gathering. And if we can't assume that what we did in person is going to translate online. So I want to give some ideas about how to do that. And I want to conclude that section with one of my favorite quotes by Maya Angelou. I've learned that people will forget what you've said. They will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And that is so critical. No matter how much content you have, and here's my big task because I got a ton of content I want to share with you, but I want to connect with you. And that's what's most important, because the thing is about connection, that's what's going to win your results every time. It's when it's all said and done, if you're running a business, you want repeat customers and you want your clients to stay with you. You want the people on your team to stay with you. And because we're wasting so much energy, creating new content, trying to create ways to gather and get more people, get more this, get more. Like Yorka was saying, that's coming from scarcity. So if we're thinking expansively, we have to focus on connection. The way to get connection is trust. So the trust comes from three main places in doing online gatherings. And it's about having technology. Okay, I want to tell you all about this, but I can't because I'm going to overwhelm you. So I'm just going to show this to you, but just know, and if you download my packet, you'll get this. Okay. But this is a checklist of things you want to make sure you have. Preparation. There's a really awesome agenda tool called Session Lab. I use it all the time to create all my gatherings of any kind, to get the timing down, to get the ability to put all my links in advance. So if I'm going to put something into the chat box, it's going to be there. Fluency, practice run. I'm not having all these tech snafus. Accuracy. I'm using the right tool at the right time. Reliability, consistency, with the lighting, audio. I'm still doing it all. Okay, I've got to stop. Clarity, variety, inclusion. All right, you can look at it on your own time. Here's the part I'm really excited about, the techniques. Okay, so I was a former art teacher, and I love color. And when I would talk about spectrum and colors, I would tell my students the way you can remember color order is the rainbow guy, Roy G. Biv. Red, orange, yellow, G for green, Biv, blue, indigo, violet. And so this is my little acronym on things to remember to bring in this order to not just your online gatherings, but any gatherings. These are the keys to being an amazing facilitator and an amazing leader. I'm going to let you look through it later. And if you want to hang out with me more or check out my Facebook page, I'll talk about this stuff all the time. But I just can't talk about it enough. But in the essence of time, I want to tell you more about the techniques, and I want to get to the team. So I can't talk about this because I don't think the link is going to work. Okay, so this is one technique I'm going to share with you right now. Okay, so you start a meeting. You want to start by establishing the purpose, the grounding, being present, and then begin by establishing trust by having like a purpose. Why are we here? And allowing people to reflect on that. And then having them go in a breakout room and then bring them back into a large group and ask them to report out. In this case, I did an interview. So each person introduced the other. And here's the thing, instant connection, instant. because the thing is, we're so done. We're so done with top-down leadership, right? We're so done with authoritative people standing like, I am the goddess of all things and importantness, and I need to tell you stuff. And we don't want to be talked at. You are so smart. You are so wise. You have so much wisdom. Why can't we tap into that and share that with one another? And you know how much more rich your gatherings would be, and profound and connected, and most importantly, colorful. So one thing I did to help connect to people's different learning styles here is like this. I asked people to pose and took a screenshot and then added the dinosaurs down. So then I sent them this post meeting along with the little summary of what happened in our gathering. If anyone should fear anything, may it be dinosaur age facilitation styles. So they're boring, disengaging, and disconnected. And I just want to give a little shout out. What I just did is I explained what was happening visually, so that if someone is checking in to this talk right now and has a limit visually, they are still being seen. They are still being included because of the visual descriptions. So then a second workshop I ran was about empowerment. So again, I had the participants all like pose and make it look like now they're conquering the ancient dinosaur age of facilitation. And I put leading ourselves and others toward empowered facilitation. And one participant has a little dialogue bubble coming out of her saying, courageously leading ourselves out of the reptilian brain, talking about prefrontal cortex. And another one says, I'm brave and aware. And another one says, the dinosaur days of top-down leadership are over. Solar plexus power. So they're getting all the dinosaurs. And again, I talk about how I use Session Lab. So those are just a few techniques that can really help you enrich the beginnings of your and create more engagement. And that's what makes your gathering so lively and colorful. And for me, I can't state this enough. This is so critical for all gatherings. I know you guys are so smart. You know how to do Zoom. We've been doing Zoom for ages, but don't underestimate how critical it is to have roles and sub roles. Enroll your group. Enroll somebody into being given. Delegate a role for people. They want to be included. They want to feel like they belong. That is also showing them trust. So when you have a co-host, and on the right side of this screen, and again, this is in the packet that I have as a free gift, it's my suggestions on the ratios of the amount of participants and the amount of roles that you would need for that quantity. If you're doing something for the first time, or if you have over 10 people, I really think it's important to have a co-host, a participant specialist, and a chat box monitor. And I can talk more about that, but I want to get to the Q&A. Again, this is in the packet I'm going to include. When you have a team, the thing about creating a great team is that's like the first step of creating trust, because right there you get to practice communication, you get to practice reliability and clarity, and then the outcomes are trust, social proof, connection, empowerment, sustainability, retention. And it just, the thing that I feel so strongly about teams is this African proverb that I love so much. If you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. So this, in summary, is just how using technology gets you the consistency and confidence. The team gets you the connection and the communication. The tools, those different techniques I was telling you about for engagement, that gets you to community, to collaboration, and ultimately, when we're all on the same page, we have cohesion. Leslie talked about that a little bit. That's that sense of like profound connection that everybody feels, either like at a sporting event or a concert. We're all on the same page with the same vision, and we can move forward. What I saw in this summit that New York is doing is she's creating cohesion. One of the participants is doing was so excited about everybody's work and wants to turn it into a book. That's cohesion. Bringing people together, having people feel like that sense of empowerment, that they have a role, that they have a purpose. It starts coming together. And we need leaders and facilitators that are so grounded in their own trust, and that they can start opening up and building trust for others, that allows us to be part of communities and groups that are based on collaboration, because we can't solve the earth's problems of where we are now without collaboration. We need collaboration, cohesion in our companies, in our efforts to deal with what we have up against us in the world today. And that is my presentation. Community is calling you. Are you ready to answer? So I want you to consider building a robust continuum of trust for your life, your business, your clients, and your community. How full is your trust tank? And are there any holes? Are there any places that you need to fill it? Um, I encourage you to come explore with me, and let's work to. Oh, that's not part of it. And to let me help you bring that trust tank up to the full level. And let's do this together. I am such an imperfect person, but I really know what it feels like to build trust. And I really know what it feels like to have cohesive communities that are on a mission and are taking action to make the world a better place. Thank you, Nyorka, for having me here. And yeah, any questions you might have?
Well, first thing anything, thank you for talking about this such an important topic, right? Because everything starts with trust. So, and we have some comments that I wanted to show you. We got Tiffany Hockman. The way to get connection is trust. So they definitely agree with you. And we had Tomasa. Great points on the trust wheel. It's an inside game for sure. Wow. So, and this, I don't know who it is because they had to accept
Oh,
the StreamYard in order to see the names, but they all agree because trust is such an important topic, right? And nowadays, we all in Zoom, we meeting people across the globe that we never even knew before, and we let them in our lives in one way or another. We're forming partnerships across the globe. Uh, we creating together, right? Creating new relationships, new beginnings. Trust is more important than ever.
it
So
really is. It really is. Yeah, we can take the slide down if you want. I don't. Okay, there we go. Yeah. So yeah, I I want you to know how much I believe in you, and I hope you can forgive me for any trust that I might have betrayed.
now
Okay.
I think we are good. We are like we are creating together so a new start, right? This is an amazing place to be. I
Yeah.
think we can inspire people to build communities and to take advantage of all this free information given with a heart.
Yes, and that's the thing. When we use our heart, you know what? Relationships are really freaking messy.
Yes,
They're really messy. And building community is a bunch of relationships. So it's really messy. We can't like have it all planned out. No matter how much we plan it, it gets messy. But the thing is that like what I've learned is coming back to that sense of trust in myself. Like, okay, what's consistent? What's reliable? Like, how do I accept what is right now and then start building it back? Has helped me so much in raising my vibration, raising my integrity, being aligned with my values, so that I can stay true what's most important, which is connection. And I want to connect with you, and I love you. And I think that what you're building here with Amor Umbrella, bringing everything together under this beautiful umbrella of love, which is compassion, and seeing the beauty. And that's one thing I love about all the speakers I've seen is the beauty that they're bringing. They're Each one of the speakers has demonstrated um, their brilliance. Like I've seen like Keith talked about consistency and with productivity, and Tomesa talked about connection and allowing like the elders to be able to trust you with the connection, and Kurt talked about communication, and Tiffany talked about the collaboration, getting systems in place to be able to scale. And I know Amy talked about confidence, and so when Leslie talked about cohesion, so like all your speakers filled in that wheel, that continuum of trust. And we're always going to be circling around these spheres. Um, yeah, I just want to leave any moments, if we're done, or comments or anything like that. And yeah, just to remind you, shevapinkus.com/free gift. Check your speaker.
Yes, it has been amazing. I thank you again for being here. I hope that everybody that's listening, that's watching live, we have some people that drop in the comments. I show you. Um, and you watch the replay, make sure you hashtag replay and get that free gift. Go give Shiva a call.
Oh, I have one more thing I forgot to say.
What?
For the first 10 people that download the free gift, I am offering a free one-on-one trust consultation to like explore your trust tank and to help you figure out a plan on making it really robust.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Thank you. So anybody that share, anybody that call, the first 10. So is that you? Please give her a call. Um,
Thank you so much, New York. It was so wonderful to be here.
yes, it's amazing. You're welcome to come back anytime and be part of the family of Business and Art Infusion, because this is just a start. Um, so with that, we have to say bye because we have another amazing speaker coming up.
Okay, I'm going to leave the studio.
Bye. Stay tuned. We got Richard Kaufman coming a little bit.